Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Danganronpa. So we are now in chapter 3. Turned out Mondo killed Chihiro, who turned out to be a guy. And even though we spent a lot of time with Chihiro, we really didn't get a lot around that. So I think we're just going to use our free time to hang out with random people in order. Sniff, sniff, sniff.
I know I shouldn't cry.
Interesting. I was not expecting for us to see a scene like this in Danganronpa. Wow. And first, 5 minutes of the stream, too. Okay. Demonetized, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it's demonetized. Why would we jump over to Aoi's to see from Aoi's perspective? And my only real question here is obviously they have her on top of the sheets so that you can see some pantsu, which then that does interestingly introduce another question here as to why did they kind of color in and black out the pantsu in two previous instances in which we should have seen upskirt shots. Of course, then you are in this weird psychological split here where either you can be a pervert and latch on a girl, a teenager, or a high schooler in her underwear, or you can be an emotional human and realize that she's emotionally suffering and in despair like so many other characters. Aoi looks very different dressed down outside of her outfit. Her hair is not up in that wild bow or ponytail that she has.
But I've had enough. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I'm. It's a little surprising somebody hasn't.
Anytime
soon. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people start just committing suicide.
It's impossible. I can't let myself think about how much I want to get out of here. If I keep thinking like that, I might decide to.
It's weird. It's almost as if we are now playing as Aoi. Aoi Asahina donuts. I need to eat some donuts. That'll cheer me up. Glazed donuts, twisty donuts, jelly-filled donuts, cream-filled donuts, donut holes, masaladas. So yeah, you can see her hair now is back to the wild curl that sticks up. Also, her hairpin was on the side of the page there. Her room is way more full of stuff than Makoto's. Wow. Honestly, this was something I did bring up in the previous episode. The idea of potentially jumping protagonist and playing as somebody else is a idea that probably would have worked weird. I also have realized that there is a game called Danganronpa 1-2 Reload, which that might be a remaster of this game. And I don't know if that's on PC or just consoles though, so I may end up realizing that I've played the original version of a game when there might have been a remaster already in existence, which that would be kind of weird. Typically in a scenario like that, if that is the case, I won't play the remaster and I'll put it on the back burner until 5-10 years later, and then maybe if I want to play this game a second time, I would play the reload. You'd almost, in a case like this, if there is going to be a new game plus or something, you'd almost want to be able to transfer the save files from the original game to the remaster and play it a second time with the new game plus. We can see, I guess, a decent amount of stuff in her room, which it does kind of make it seem like either she has stocked her room with stuff from the warehouse quite a bit, and next time we see Makoto's room, if we ever do see Makoto's room, again, it will be stocked with stuff, or Makoto's room was just completely empty and bare because he wasn't an ultimate student of anything, and everybody else's room was by default stocked with things. It looks like she's got what I assume is a pedometer on the desk to the right, and then several exercise equipments and a scale and charts around the exercise and things like that. It seems like she has some kind of duffel bag. She does have a school swimsuit that is hanging on what would be a small drying rack. Looks like there's a towel there, several water bottles, several, like, it looks like either makeup or first aid kits over on the left, in like a container. What we don't see here is a lint roller, and we haven't checked or been able to see the if anybody has opened the sewing kit or not. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have opened the sewing kits just to actually sew clothing, particularly Aoi. I wouldn't be surprised if she moves around so much that she'd tear a hole in a uniform.
Okay.
Oh, God of Donuts, I'm praying for a wonderful encounter. ... Sniff, I'm sorry. Please forgive me for breaking the nighttime rule, but right now, for me, donuts are absolutely necessary. Grr, grr. What's that? Huh? Grr, grr, grr.
Huh?
What's that sound? So we've got like a midnight encounter here that we're seeing through the eyes of Aoi. Perhaps because we needed to be a girl to go into a certain area or see a certain thing. Sounds like it's coming from the bathhouse. Grr, grr, grr.
But
I'm super scared, but... And see, this is just jumping us forward in the story. We're not having to actually walk, and I kind of feel like the whole game could have been this easily. Is someone there? ... Gasp. Gwa. So I thought for a second there what we would see is just some of the other girls in the bathhouse naked, but I don't know if this game is really going to go that far, because man, that would be a very fast escalation here to go from the first chapter censoring out a couple of upskirt shots, or it felt like they were censoring them out. They darkened it out so you couldn't see the underwear of the girls. Then to this scene we just started this chapter on with Aoi in her underwear, and so if it had jumped the next way to just full-on nudity, that would be quite the escalation. I wonder if perhaps what they were attempting there, if you ever see something like this where the first couple hours of any game are censored and then it gets just progressively more uncensored later on, that almost certainly is there because they know that particularly Western video game journalists don't play games all the way through, and particularly when you're talking about visual novels and Eastern games. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's quite a few games where the censorship stops at about the 2-hour mark or the couple hours in mark, because most people, journalists or otherwise, don't even make it that far. Qua. ... So now we're in the chapter 3, a next generation legend, stand tall, great hero. Was that what that said? I hope so. The morning after the conclusion of the second class trial. So we're now back to Makoto. So was it necessary to even see that scene from Aoi's perspective if we're just going to get back to playing as Makoto, or could Aoi just have told us what had occurred and then we would have to just believe her? Everyone met up in the dining hall just like always. Not everyone. I don't see Byakuya or Toko or Aoi. And I expected it to start like any other day. That's what I expected, but today's count kind of sucks. Both Byakuya and Byakuya, both Toko and Byakuya still refuse to show up. And I haven't seen Miss Asahine anywhere. She said her stomach was hurting, and so she's taking it easy in her room for today.
oh,
That is rather unusual for her. Normally she is so full of energy, which is exactly what makes me worry.
so then.
So it's just the 7 of us then. It looks that way.
How about that?
It's time like this where the committee chairman needs to get things going with a bang. And Kiyotaka's just gonna not even be interested in that.
Impossible.
Or not. ... Taka hasn't said a word since what happened, since everything that happened yesterday. One look on his face shows he hasn't slept a wink last night. Must be because of Mondo. There was a very ridiculous way of killing Mondo that they implemented, so I think the murders are going to get just more and more ridiculous. The two of them became so close, and then he finds out Mondo killed Chihiro, then having to watch Mondo get punished and nothing he could do about it. I can't even imagine what it must have done to him.
Well,
Remember, Taka was supposed to be the ultimate moral student, and now his moral base is crumbling down fast. So I mean, what's going to happen now? We haven't found any way out, and we have no idea if help's ever going to come. Now I'm depressed just thinking about it. We simply have to make the best of things, do our best to get along and live here together in peace. Forget about the outside world and accept this new life. That is the only hope we have now. What? To live here forever?
well,
Here we have every convenience. We have food, clothes, we have every need our every need is seen to. Why are you dissatisfied? In fact, let me ask you this. What is it, the outside world, what is it about the outside world that you long for?
is that okay?
Competition, distraction, victimization, violence. As society grows, so does its perversions. In which case, is our current situation not demon, angel, pretty, pudgy princess? This is going to be some kind of reference to some made-up anime.
Huh?
Here we go.
Meggy, the drill shop owner, the bunny-eared Amazon, cat, girl, dog, boy, Robo Justice, the Galactic King. He's just like naming a whole bunch of animes, and what I mean is there's no 2D here.
There is nothing to be done.
The mastermind put such base desire to their advantage, bending you to their will.
You know?
Okay, well anyway, since Taka's like catatonic, as the oldest one here, I'm officially stepping up to take the lead. He's the oldest one here because he failed several grades in high school, and honestly, I think if you were held back more than once in a Japanese school system, you pretty much are, at that point, considered such a huge loser that you probably should just drop out and I don't know, basically jump off the roof of the building of the school, or become, I guess, maybe a low-level employee somewhere. So we're all gonna work together and spend the rest of the day searching the school. Searching?
I'm right.
Well, I mean,
right?
since the class trial's over and all,
Perhaps.
there should be new places for us to investigate.
Hmm.
Yes, that's the ticket. Maybe we'll find some kind of clue this time.
Well then.
Then once we're done eating, let's split up and begin looking around. Do you have any problem with that, Celeste? There may well be a discovery waiting for us which may further enrich our life here. Or no, the point is to look for clues. And just as we started to come together, she barged in and ruined our conversation.
So I appeared.
You called for me and so I appeared. Genocide. Nobody called for you. But how come it's Genocide Jill and not Toko? God, this place is just amazing. Finally a place where I can be my murderous self. Which is why I decided to stop holding back and spread my wings. No more hiding in a cave for me. Plus, I have another battle to fight. The whole killer with a split personality thing is so overdone. I gotta destroy that stereotype. I'll fight all day and all night to murder those those totally slanderous cliches. So you are a killer, but you are a killer with a split personality. If she weren't here, my chances of survival would go up at least 10%. Come on, you gotta back me up here. Even the biggest stars need the little people to hold them up. Well, whatever else we do today, first we should eat. We can't do anything on an empty stomach. You're right, let's hurry up and eat so we can start the investigation. They've totally forgotten about the idea of being poisoned. Yeah. So we were forced to eat breakfast with a murderer, and after a much needed but very annoying meal, we set to work looking around the school. Alright. So for chapter 3, it ideally would be nice if we could just confirm that there aren't going to be any nice tokens, but clearly there are going to be nice tokens. Again, like, it really is the only way we're going to get more nice tokens anyway, so we've got to go pretty much everywhere and try and get the nice tokens. I think it's probably easiest. I imagine we also might only be getting nice tokens on things that literally haven't played a part in any murder. Not everything that hasn't played a part in a murder, but some things do seem to, like the knife rack probably won't ever give us a nice token. Do we need to press the Y button to see if maybe something new showed up? And we're searching, we're not like free timing at the moment. So I guess the general idea is we'll just have to run everywhere. But like we know we had already seen that scene. So over here we have this and this massage chair, and then over here we have this, and we saw Aoi find a thing locker. There's nothing out of the ordinary with him, so Aoi must have moved whatever face she saw. Or the ghost must have moved. And then it's gonna be kind of annoying, to say the least, to potentially have to go into a room just to click on one thing. I assume that the sauna won't immediately break in the handbook because I've been in here multiple times. Well, see, in that sauna was new text, and it was related to the sauna battle, and that still gave me a nice token, so we kind of know now that it's not just unimportant lines of dialogue that will give you nice tokens, it's also important lines of dialogue. So you're pretty much set here. We're also in a unique situation where we can't just assume that Toko killed everybody in every further in every future case, because A, that would be boring, and not as boring as clicking on the exact same things over and over again, but also it would not really work well. The two previous times I started on the right and worked to the left. I'm wondering if it's just the number of times you click on these things. Nope, I think it is fairly random. Or more generally, I think it's probably a case of they randomized where the nice tokens are going to be, but then they locked it down after they randomized it, so that you could follow a walkthrough and get all the nice tokens quicker. And we kind of need as many nice tokens as possible. So, yep. that gate is still there, so that didn't unlock. So we may just see that the school unlocks new areas and the dormitories don't. Which, honestly, if the second floor of the dormitory is just more dormitories, then what would that really reveal? Or what would that even really add as a value? Like, I imagine if you were going to try and keep people trapped forever in a school, you might, like, every 10 years say, well, alright, now you can get to the second floor of the dormitories and move effectively. And that they would just be like carbon copies of the exact same area. Interestingly, they didn't have us go in our room. So when next time we are in our room, we'll have to search there. Although we may also find that there's really not too much as far as nice tokens in our room. Or they may just do us the favor of making it so that we don't have to actually go in our room at all going forward. Not a single nice token in the trash room. It almost feels like the game would work better if they had told us that the trash room is just now going to be cordoned off as a crime scene and we're not going to use it anymore. Like, or that the trash room is going to, door is going to be locked. See, if I had been able to play as Aoi, then that would have been the first opportunity to look in the girls' bathroom to find out that there's probably absolutely no difference there. Except for there wouldn't be urinals, I would assume. Let's see, map. Yeah, there's kind of nothing here also. They've done us at least a favor of making each of the responses when we are scanning things one sentence. But this still is just extra work. And maybe they're trying to be more linear about this. And so the classrooms and places where you don't really need to go and investigate now won't have any nice tokens. But we could also use some more nice tokens. It's not like we're gonna get 100 presents, nor do we even need 100 presents. There's a little bit of a balance there. Where it would be kind of silly to just use one coin to get hundreds and hundreds of copies of the same presents. With many duplicates. We've done nothing with the music room. Like, once again, this could have been a room that just gets removed. So many visual novels really do come off as they're just stretching for time. And the time per dollar valuation is a quickly becoming obsolete concept that just doesn't really work anymore. I don't even know if it really works for the Japanese particularly well. Like, I imagine we are quickly approaching a new generation of Japanese gamers who are going to be more ADD, for lack of a better term, than previous ones. Like, yeah, So we're just gonna have like 96 Monokuma tokens. Using about 8 of them. We're gonna get about 7 gifts. With the luckies also. We might get a little higher. So the goal, again, keep it under 50. Because you have... the real calculation, I suppose, would come down to what are your odds of getting a lucky? Hmm. And also, like, we've been given no indication here that there is a chance of items unlocking later on. So, and when it's shaking there, I assume that means that it's getting close to giving a lucky. And if we actually get to like 100% with one coin, at a certain level, I think that means we've probably gotten all of them. That the Monokuma machine can give us. And at that point, I guess I'll just sit on the Monokuma tokens. Yeah, we are at 61% now. And we have enough tokens maybe for one more. Nope, we don't. I guess we could probably goof around with this a little bit and let's just do one token. There might be an argument to do just one token just because of luckies. Like, your repeat chance doesn't go up if you don't get a new item. I don't think. Yeah, I might have miscalculated this. This might be better to have just used one item, one token. We might need to change things up going forward. It would be funny if it turned out the repeat percentage here, though, is actually the lucky percentage, not the chance that you're going to get a duplicate item. And it does kind of feel like the game is just kind of cheating in your favor anyways, and it is going to make sure that you get pretty much one of everything eventually with the luckies. Alright, one more. Alright, so let's look at the presents now and see what that really did for us. Of 114 items, we are missing one there. And let's see. There's all kinds of food things and here flotation donuts. We know who to give that to. We're missing one here. Two here. We have a whole category of like rich perfumes and jewelry. We're missing something there, and then 2 here. 2, 3 here. 1, 2 there. 1 there, 1 there. 2 there, 1 there. 1, 2 there. 1, 2 here. 1, 2, 3 here. One there. One there. 1, 2, 3 here. So there would be a slight question if maybe these items are special items. They can't be collected. But otherwise, it does kind of feel like we may very well be definitely down the path of having everything as we keep going. Particularly if it turns out that there is a considerable amount of more chapters here. We're on chapter 3. If there's 6 chapters in total, that would be one thing. That would be very different if there were like 12 chapters in total. I kind of feel like, though, as far as the number of free time elements I'm going to have to hang out with people, I probably do have enough presence already, so doing the one as a concept probably isn't as worthwhile as it seems. And then I don't feel like this game is balanced in such a way that it's going to give me more nice tokens now because I'm back down to 0. We didn't get called to the gym. We do have the nurse's room open, finally. Ah, it's open. So I guess we can get in here too. So that'll probably trigger something. And we might as well just be natural about everything. So fairly fancy nurse's room for high school. They tend not to be very well stocked in every instance I've ever seen it in an anime or TV show. And like in the West, certainly nurses' offices in schools are not really particularly equipped. So why, though, is the question here as to why would there be a nurse's room in the first place when you want people to kill each other? Refrigerator, they must use it to keep drugs and stuff cold. Okay, back to getting Monokuma tokens. It's a normal trash can, there's nothing inside of it, so I don't need to spend any more time thinking about it. Like, and this whole thing feels like it's an X-ray station or some kind of scanner, which I definitely doubt that they would have in a Japanese high school. Yeah, there's like the wall of plugs back here is kind of unnecessary for high school. A X-ray or scanners kind of unimportant. Yeah, it definitely is an X-ray station because they've got like light boards to see it. Like, even for the fanciest Japanese school possible, it doesn't really make sense. Also, we can look up and notice that there is nothing but blackness, so they really have just wasted the idea of looking up and looking down as an idea. Like, totally unnecessary to have that. Like, I almost would understand the idea of a really, really fancy, rich school having its own private medicine, but and like a private on-site doctor, but nah, I don't really believe that would happen. Right. So what I want to do here is, before I go somewhere, we see Byakuya is in this area, so I guess we'll just naturally move with that. Interesting. So we can zoom back in here. That's weird. It's a helmet of some sort. There's something like that on display. Some kind of plaque. I wonder why this is on display. It's not really giving you any details, because if any of these trophies had years on them, at least we could have a general idea of when the school stopped being in business. Unless, of course, this is all just staged, which maybe it is. There's all kinds of stuff in the upper shelf, too. And we were able to zoom in on that in the first chapter, and then we weren't able to zoom in on it in the second chapter. So it definitely seems very random. I guess Byakuya is in the boys' gym upstairs. They make these very big rooms, and then they have just nothing in them. I guess the question is, how much could you strain credibility if you had made a story set in a high school that's supposed to supply your every need, and then you, because of budgetary reasons, chose not to have a gym animated and chose not to have a Alright, so it's just this guy. We don't see any triggers otherwise. So I guess we'll go to the pool first, and then we'll come back and talk to that guy. See, at this point also it would make a good argument that there's, like, let's see, one male e-handbook that still works and two female e-handbooks. So I wouldn't be surprised if Byakuya would demand to take one so that he could get in the girls' locker room at any point for an investigation, or at least try that. We're just clicking on everything. What's funny here is these lights. Are they supposed to indicate that the room is occupied? Because that would have made more sense. If these are clocks, then why would you have two clocks instead of just one clock in the middle of the wall? But if these were just lights to indicate the room was occupied, then you would have had evidence as to why you would have gone to the why you would have wanted to check and search the girls' locker room in the first place. And they've cleaned off the blood and put the poster back, or I assume Monokuma has done that, because he just puts everything back to normal. The coffee stains on the carpet are gone, and the bikini model poster is back. Just like with Sayaka, Monokuma must have done it. That, or this is just some kind of dream or virtual reality where they reset everything after each chapter, or it's a video game where they reset everything after each chapter. Is there anything else to talk to? No, let's talk to him. What are you doing here, Byakuya? Is it obvious? I'm reading.
Come on.
I was hoping I wouldn't be potted in a place like this. Sorry. Anyways, it looks like everything's been returned to normal here. The coffee stains on the carpet are gone, and the bikini model poster is back. It's just like with Sayaka, Monokuma must have done it. So it's just like the exact same line of dialogue, just in case you don't click on the items and only talk to people. Which is, I suppose, a fair enough fear, because I could imagine that there might be a certain type of player that really just wants to talk to people and doesn't want to investigate, while there might be other types of players who don't really want to talk to people and just want to investigate. There is certainly an argument that could be made that you might find some of these characters fairly annoying. And often they don't have a lot to say, so you have these like introductory conversations that just start and end. They're usually not saying anything deep or meaningful. Alright, so he's standing by the girls' bathroom. Let's talk to this.
Could it
Nothing changed on this floor. The only difference is the gate blocking the stairs leading up to the third floor is gone. I guess that's where they want us to head next. I wonder what kind of crazy stuff is up there. Alright, well. Let's just keep on looking for Monokuma coins. Definitely we have an inconsistency here. In that there is something to scan in that room. It is beneficial that they didn't have as many school classrooms as a normal school probably would have. Otherwise, we would double our effort wandering around each time looking for Monokuma tokens. Which the number of Monokuma tokens we're getting does seem to be getting smaller and smaller in places we've already been. Which that kind of makes sense. Because all the new Monokuma tokens should just be in the new areas, and they should have just told us straight up at the beginning of the game that that was the way that was going to work. And then you have this wall where there almost certainly would have been a classroom, and then you have this whole section which would almost certainly have been a classroom. There's quite a lot to scan in this room. It would be fairly crazy if... Yeah, and see, that goes really long. But I think we had already read that. Sorry if I'm skipping things at this point that we actually haven't seen. It would be pretty crazy if this was kind of like the game Myst, where after spending many hours in the school, it turns out that there's a combination of things that you just have to go and click on in a certain order, and that then opens up a secret area, or it just allows the game to be finished. Let's see. We are in that weird position though where we are going to have to decide what to do with Genocide Jill and Byakuya, and they really should have had a conversation about it more. I think that it's like, what are we going to do with somebody who's going to mess with the crime scenes and risk our lives, and what are we going to do with Genocide Jill, who's going to potentially decide to kill somebody. Like, you could try and have a conversation with her and say, what was it that motivated you to kill these your victims? Is there some way we can get you to promise to not kill us? Particularly if she is being honest about breaking the cliches around split personality killers. Although I'm not sure exactly what cliches in particular she's trying to break. Reality isn't everything, and then see, this is pink like blood, so is there blood on this board? If there is, they never mentioned it. Is this warped reality gonna start getting like deteriorated and worse? Are we gonna start seeing instances of rooms become more gruesome and horrific? And see, yeah, every bit of indication tells me that this door here, this wall here, is fake, and that the elevator would have opened up to a room on that side. But I feel like that's the case with a lot of this whole school, is that there's just a lot of remodeling that's been done to specifically make it a smaller area. 3rd floor of Hope's Peak Academy. I wonder what we're gonna find this time. What's up here? Alright, so can we now look at the map? I found like 1 Monokuma token. So we've got a interaction with every single room we go into, with the exception of Sakura over here. So let's deal with that, I suppose. So that is going to 3B. Oops, hitting my microphone again. Like, I desperately need to get a shock mount for my Blue Yeti microphone so that doesn't happen. I relatively recently added a soundproofing shield, and its metal exterior of the shield is what I keep bumping my hand to on, and then it reverberates horribly. Where if I had a shock mount, I could hit any part of the stand other than the microphone directly, and you wouldn't hear that. And it's the same if I was to hit any part of the microphone stand. Did I hit the clock here? But arguably, for the level of quality of product I'm making, investing as much as I already have in my microphone is actually a little extreme. Like having a pop filter and a soundproof backing shield and a Blue Yeti and a microphone stand to put it all on. Like, some of those are not necessary. And a shock mount definitely brings it to the next area. Also, at some point I might consider getting away from the USB interface of the Blue Yeti and moving to a standard XLR microphone with a soundboard. And at that point I would need a different kind of shock mount, because the Blue Yeti is a very non-standard width microphone that you can't really hold in your hand. And it actually is kind of odd too, because you talk to it on the side of the microphone, where every other microphone, almost always, you talk to the top of the microphone. Which, I mean, they can put the microphones inside in any orientation they want, but they should have probably been more standard about it. So yeah, let's see what we have here. Despair Squadron Monokuma, as if there's multiple Monokumas. Oh yeah, and we forgot that there is a 16th student. We saw that at the end of the last recording, somewhere. And that there's a spy. So, like, there's more treachery to be had. I don't know. That's an interesting sentence here. Assuming I make it out of here alive, I'll never look at a surveillance camera the same way again. Which, honestly, looking at a surveillance camera even before you were trapped here with any feelings of positivity would be kind of crazy. Like, surveillance cameras are definitely almost never there to really protect you. Like, there's been plenty of stories of somebody getting robbed or assaulted, and stores either don't have the footage, didn't have the footage recording, or just don't want to give it to you. And then you end up having to sue a third party to get their camera footage, just to then pursue a lawsuit or a criminal investigation on someone else. Stuck to Sakura.
So in the end.
Yep. Maybe your voice actor isn't different. Maybe I just, in my head, gave her a different voice. That might be the case. The windows up here are also barred with metal plates. No surprise, not surprising, I suppose. So escape still looks impossible. But I better check all the other metal plates again, just to be sure. So Sakura does seem like she is trying to check all the metal plates everywhere. And this... a lot of these hallways are kind of very copy and pasty. Alright, so we have a rec room, which I assume stands for recreation and not recording. This is fancy. So this is
Let's see.
recreation room, a place for students to come and relax. And you only get that after two chapters of murder cases. So you would think something like this would be better in the dormitories than in the school, because having a rec room in a school seems like you're inviting kids to skip class and goof off in the school. It sends a bad message, to say the least. I never would have imagined a school having a place like this. Well, no normal school would. It has Othello, shogi, Japanese chess is shogi, even a dartboard and a pool table. And look at this. They've even provided us with a remarkable number of magazines. Are they really magazines or are they manga? I'd kind of guess magazines. In this case, they don't look black and white or particularly small to be manga.
Isn't it wonderful?
Those will certainly be helpful to keep our boredom at bay.
Listen up!
Ring, ring, ring. Hello there. Allow me to expound. We've got fashion, motorcycle, martial arts, video games, baseball, science, all kinds of magazines. Of course, the fashionista is already dead. The biker gang guy is already dead. Was there an ultimate martial artist? That would be Sakura, yes. Video games. I guess Hifumi probably would like video games. Leon was the baseball guy, so he's already dead. Science-wise, no real ultimate scientist amongst the groups. Oh, but nothing dirty. This is a school after all. If you need a quick fix, check out the swimsuit mags.
So then...
And will you be adding to our collection as new issues come out?
Too bad.
Sorry, no can do. Even I wanted to. Right now, magazines are kinda what?
Watch out!
Oops. Nothing, never mind. No. Anyway, that's for me. That's it for my expoundation. Bye-bye. This gives the indication that the outside world may have just gone into an apocalypse and ended. And they aren't making new magazines. ... What he just said. I know, right? It bothers me too.
Most unfortunate.
Life here would be that much richer if he could add some new issues once in a while. How disappointing, really. Yeah, you're gonna get bored with the same magazines over and over again. And it's got a neon sign in the back called Hopeful Peak, and and still has cameras. If anything, this is really just feels like they've made another environment specifically so you can find new ways to murder people. There's a table here. It's kind of similar to the desks in the classroom, but also kind of not. Interesting that you can click on the table. There's a copy of Othello here. I'm pretty bad at it though. Nice. You don't click on the refreshments. Seems like a fairly small billiard table, relatively size speaking. And you can see the animation is not great on it. Pool table isn't normal school equipment. Is that thanks to Monokuma, or did the school buy it? I feel like you get a pool table and you're encouraging some level of gambling at that point. From looking at the couch, it looks pretty comfortable. There's even a dartboard. Did Monokuma put this here, or was it always part of the school? Clearly the Monokuma sign indicates to me that this has all been added. It's a beat up old locker. It doesn't seem especially important right now, so I don't need to open it. Jeez. Well, that tells me there's something there. Some kind of bottles. What the heck is it? Maybe it's just for decoration or something. There are all kinds of different magazines here on the shelf. They have even have a bunch of monthly comics, but without getting regular updates, what's the point? Monthly comics might be closer to something like Shonen Jump, where they collect several manga series and release it as a big bundle, versus say monthly comics that are only like 20 pages that come out in the West for like Marvel and DC comics. I don't know if Marvel and DC comics are popular at all in Japan. Like, honestly, I don't know if they're popular at all, really, even in the West. I think it's very niche. It's rather unfortunate about the magazines, but still, I do believe our lives will be improved significantly thanks to this little hideout. Alright, so I guess that's it for the rec room. So further we go, and did things change? Seemingly not. We still haven't seen Aoi since that scene. So the third floor opened up this time. After a brief investigation, it looks like there's a physics lab and an art room. I also found a huge machine of some kind in the physics lab. I wonder what it does. Okay. Here we have some kind of like reflectors on these columns. And then these frankly look like light poles. Then something else. Then columns. Is this... You're supposed to be able to climb all the way up here? Into the blackness of the ceiling? Which they didn't bother to animate? Alright, well, let's check out the art room. Seems like it's kind of uniquely open-aired in its design. First glance, it looks like any normal art room, but something of it seems off, or multiple somethings. So I can see a Monokuma statue. Is that a statue of Monokuma? Who would ever want to make something like this? Still, the quality is surprising. So we've got that. We've got another surveillance camera. We've got a door. In the background, we've got a whole bunch of pictures on the wall that aren't lined up well at all, and the pictures look very childish for a high school, and fairly repetitive, almost like they're trying to hide something. I would also say a Japanese school would not display artwork so haphazardly if they're going to display their artwork at all. I don't know if they would even really display artwork. So yeah, this seems like something is being hidden. It's really art, or is it just a bunch of crappy graffiti to me? And then we've got the monitor again. Alright, we have some lockers and we have a statue. It's a Venus statue, definitely very art roomish. Although I guess the question is it the original Venus statue? It's a locker, but it doesn't seem like there's anything inside. Then we've got like a statue of Neo. Never heard of anyone using a Neo statue to draw for life drawing classes or whatever. So let's look up. At least you have a ceiling in this one. Let's look down. Is there anything in the desks? The desks are kind of weirdly different, but not that different. No surprise Hifumi would be here. At least this is somewhat to his liking. Well, look at all this equipment. It certainly scratches the artistic itch of mine. What is Hifumi, by the way? He is the ultimate fan fiction creator, but I think that's a mistranslation for ultimate manga creator or doujin creator, maybe. So maybe he draws more than just writes, and that is the difference between being an ultimate novelist and an ultimate fan fiction creator. Art supplies, of course. They've also collected all kinds of sculpting tools. We've got to react to everything, so we might as well. So, Hifumi, do you like to sculptures and figurines and stuff?
Yes, indeed.
Well, normally I limit myself to 2D, but figurines are like borderline 2D, so it's okay. I don't know how that's borderline, but okay. I'm a fan of Charinbo, Pumpkinhead, and I especially admire anything that Saburo Ronpongi makes. I don't know any of these people. Clearly these would be like Japanese sculptors, which or a Japanese artist. There's a horror series called Pumpkinhead, but I doubt that's what they're referencing there. Charinbo's ability to express the movements of muscles is exquisite, as seen in his Mama Cat series. Pumpkinhead is like a little sculptor fairy representing the century's greatest quality. Saburo Ronpongi, meanwhile, is known for his Mecha Musume series, which led to a worldwide tour. Honestly, if I was going to try and name 3 sculptors from the West, it would not be... it would be very, very hard to name anybody who is still alive, or even from the past 100 years. You talk more like Michelangelo and some of the famous European artists of the Renaissance. Truly, they can only be regarded as the Elite Four. Elite Four, there was only 3. But one of your elite is missing. Well, the Elite 3 just sounds stupid, doesn't it? Elite Four would be a reference to, I believe, like the first Pokemon games.
Yes, indeed.
Besides, that empty seat rightly belongs to me. Today begins my reign as the legendary ruler of the next century. I see. Well, good luck with that. Like, that's probably the best conversation we've had with Hifumi this whole time so far, and that's still pretty not useful, to say the least. And I guess this is going to be a supplies closet. This is the repository that's attached to the art room. It's used to store different artsy things. So immediately I notice we have a picture that floated to the ground. And so we want to click on that more than anything. Now this isn't a photography setup in art. So the picture really doesn't belong here. There's something on the floor. It looks like a picture. But as I stretch out my hand to pick it up, we can see here, it seems to be Chihiro. You can barely make her out in the right. And then in the middle, Leon. And to the left is Mondo. So it's like all 3 of them. They seem to be dressed all in white. Which white is the color of death. They seem to be great buddies. Almost as if it's on its own, my hand froze. Oh good, we do zoom in. Huh? So it's like they look like they're just happy and together, and I don't think this ever actually happened. So this feels like this has been photoshopped. What I saw in that picture was Chihiro, Leon, and Mondo, and they were smiling. What is this? Is this the heaven? Do people who get killed and punished move on to heaven? Are we in some kind of hell right now, or purgatory? Like, if that's the case, that we were in a hell or purgatory, it does then certainly ask some questions as to why why Mondo, who killed Chihiro, would be in the same place as Chihiro, who was just an innocent victim. Unless this is some kind of purgatory where you get punished and executed and then your sins are washed clean and then you move on to heaven, which, okay, fair enough. Questions started racing through my head one after another. Why is it only these three people? What are they doing together? How come they're smiling like that? When was it taken? Who took it? Where's the camera they used? How'd they get it developed? And in the picture, the windows in the classroom are open and you can see a blue sky in the background. There's no metal plate covering it. Which must mean whenever this picture was taken, it wasn't here at Hope's Peak. But there was no time to find an answer. All the questions floating around my head were quickly drowned out by, "That's mine, give it back." So Monokuma was stealing it. Monokuma appeared out of nowhere and snatched the photo, and any chance I had at answers evaporated. "You peeked, didn't you?" Well, they all had some pretty dazzling smiles, huh?
Isn't that wonderful?
They were definitely living their school life. It's like they ripped a page right out of a book, the Book of Youth. What's going on with that picture? Do you know? I'm not telling you nothing. Why can't you give me a straight answer? So it almost feels like then in that case that Monokuma in some alternate reality was a friend or classmate of the other students too. A part of the group and now not. Interesting. Like there definitely are some other Japanese stories where a character is just ripped out of the timeline and it changes everything, and then that character's spirit or soul tries to come back and reset the timeline and be involved with everyone else who they once knew. That would definitely play on the sense of wanting to like return to your youth or return to your friends in high school or your high school life when you're older. Why can't you give me a straight answer? Never mind. I didn't even know why I bothered asking. Alright, well, let's start scanning some other things. I feel like a trapezoidal stand for a bust is pretty dangerous. And you're just inviting someone to knock over the bus, but clearly they're not worth focusing too much on. Let's see. We have a dolly. Must be used to move the statues around, so statues must be pretty heavy. A monitor. Still just looking for nice coins. And then some more of these like bad arts. I assume maybe what they did is they paid an intern or didn't pay an intern to draw a lot of these bad art images. And then we have hammers or mallets or wooden mallets hanging on the wall. If I had to guess, they're used for making sculptures. They seem very, very large for making sculptures though. It also seems like, if I was to guess, there's some sort of chemical in the lower left hand corner there that I could only assume is some kind of acetone or paint thinner, something fairly poisonous and dangerous, and they're just going to ignore that, I guess. Like these bottles here. Interesting. There might be quite the irony here in that there's probably a decent number of items in which a different murder could have been perpetrated, and yet it wasn't. It also seems weird to have no door in the art room. You would kind of want more silence there, and you wouldn't want just people wandering in the whole time. Like, if there's a reason to have a door in a classroom, there's just as much reason to have a door in an art room. Where are we going now? Yeah, we have this room, and then we have this room. And then we have yet another set of stairs in a different place, which it's just bad construction. Like, usually when you build a stairwell in a building, you've built it very specifically to be a fire escape stairwell. So the walls are kind of more fireproofed, reinforced. Also, you would want to be able to walk without going through the rest of the building that may be on fire from the top floor all the way down. So having different stairs in different places really doesn't make any sense at all. It's not efficient people movement either. It's so video gamey, where it would have made more sense if there was just one stairwell for the entire game, and then there was gates between each floor, and then the gates blocked you off from going any higher. This is very stone-like in this design. Very dark still. Still have a lot of this. And so we have very much transitioned from something that feels more like a laboratory than a school, with a very weird door. Yeah, this doesn't feel like a school physics laboratory by any means. If anything, this might indicate that the entire room and this part of the building has been retrofitted, or that they are much further into the future than they think, and this would be what a future physics classroom would look like. But if that was the case, then why this one room? Why not every other room? This might also be just a generator to explain how the school is powering itself, which it probably is for all of eternity, and how the power can't just be shut off from people on the outside, and the water probably can't be shut off. It's probably getting purified and refiltered. This is the physics lab. It's less like a classroom and more like some kind of research institute. Right, so we've got a decent amount. And I will say, as someone who watched a lot of this gameplay, I obviously haven't watched enough of it to spoil myself, because I'd never seen this room before. So yeah, let's see, materials, pulleys, steel plates, magnets, all kinds of stuff I don't even recognize. I kind of know what's gonna happen, I think, in this chapter, but I'm not 100% certain. I could be thinking about a completely different chapter. We've got a camera here. Oh, it's a digital camera. It's got some weird anime style design on it. It's kind of beat up, but it looks like it still turns on just fine. Yep, it still works. I should show the others later. So I just collected an item, which is odd because I don't have an inventory. So we now have a camera. Maybe that was the camera that was used to take the picture of the other characters. What's up with this ridiculously big machine?
Watch out!
Watch out. What do you want to do? What, you want to do some quantum leaping? Well, that is an interesting question. Is that what's happening? Are we jumping back into previous people's bodies? I doubt it. Quantum leaping being the TV show from a long time ago. Or maybe he means something completely different when he says that phrase. Huh? That's a time machine. Pretty awesome, right? It was designed by a student right here at Hope's Peak. So even Monokuma now is throwing out the idea that time travel might be involved. The ultimate physicist. Although they don't go here anymore. They died during the tragedy. What tragedy? A time machine? Seriously? So I can go back in time? Okay, let me get in there. If I can go to the past, then I can. This time I'll stop Mondo for sure. Sorry, not possible. This particular time machine can only go back 1 minute. This particular time machine. Honestly though, if you could go back 1 minute, then the question is, does it take more than a minute to charge up and activate? Because you could go back a minute, then go back a minute again, then go back a minute again, and effectively go back a minute for as long as the machine was built. It comes in handy when you like leave your pizza bagels in the microwave 1 minute too long. 1 minute? Huh? You sound disappointed. If anything, this feels like Monokuma is just straight up lying to Taka to mess with him. But actually, I was lying about the whole thing anyways. There's no such thing as time machines. What?
Hey,
Honestly, it's just an air purifier. Air purifier?
in other words,
It can produce clean air no matter where you are at. With that thing, you can even live on Mars, which maybe they are in space or on Mars. But with the discombobulatory gravity and deadly low temperatures, you probably don't want to live on Mars.
you guys.
Anyways, this machine is the reason you all have this delicious air. So don't go messing with it. You break it and it's your butt. This thing is just an air purifier? And more than that, Taka's just catatonic. To go out of your way to say something you know will hurt someone who's already suffering. God damn you. Yep. Yeah, Monokuma's a jerk. To say the least. The machine obviously has some kind of purpose, but I don't know anything about physics to begin with, so I wouldn't have a clue where to start this. And if I click on this, we'll just trigger something different. And here we have Toko, or Genocide Jill, I suppose, is her new name, and she seems to be the one driving the car going forward. This is the equipment room. It's super disorganized, and there's a strange chemical smell in the air. This place is so relaxing, so calming. The smell of formaldehyde is almost unbearable. It's so tempting. I want to know how she got her scissors inside the school. I just want to dunk myself right in it. ... Of course, Genocide Jack likes it. That just goes to show how disgusting it really is. I discovered lots of stuff, but all of it was strange. I don't know if any of it was an actual clue. I'm just getting more confused. Maybe I should head to the dining hall and talk about it with everyone else. Like, it sucks to walk in this room and just not be able to investigate this room, and I will have to come back later and see if there are any Monokuma tokens. But clearly we're not going to get very many. I have like 10 now, so like that's really not a lot. For now, I should head to the dining hall. We have no conversation with Toko at all. I feel like they've programmed this kind of poorly, so that you could have potentially had a conversation with Toko, and then maybe you would have missed a conversation with someone else. So perhaps it was more important to see the picture that we found of the 3 dead guys than it was to talk to Toko. Or perhaps there are branching paths in which you could play this game a second time, and that talking to specific people might actually reveal more important information otherwise. We only had like one react conversation so far also. When I got back to the dining hall, the first thing I noticed was Aoi. Hina. I tried to talk to her, but my voice was immediately drowned out by the others as they rushed into the dining hall. Hina. I thought she was sick or something. Everyone rushed past me and crowded around Hina. Being surrounded by everyone like that, Hina looked really uncomfortable. Are you feeling better already? Yeah, I ate a few donuts, and that really helped a lot. So, sick, I don't think she was really sick. I think she was either hiding something or being depressed. There is suspicion, I suppose, being cast on Hina, but I don't know if I really think she's killed anybody yet. I suppose it does get back to the idea. I've been calling her Aoi Asahina, but if everybody's calling her Hina, then it does imply to me that her family name is Aoi, and this is how it is normally written in Japanese, so I don't know if they were consistently translating this way. So if her family name is Aoi, then her first name would be Asahina, shortened to Hina. But then again, if you were going to call somebody by a nickname, you would call them by their family name, which would be closer to Hina or Hina-chan, with the friendly honorific there, which that is more believable in Japanese. So I kind of am leaning the other direction, where actually her family name has been flipped and Asahina is the family name. But if that's the case, then you run into the problem of Makoto, because Makoto has always been referred to as Makoto by Celeste. So either Celeste is being incredibly not formal, but familiar. You'd expect her to actually be more familiar or formal. I'm getting tongue-tied here. Yeah, the fact that people are calling Makoto, if that really is his first name, people are being very familiar with him. See, if anything, they would be calling him Naegi-san or Naegi-chan. I guess Chan would probably be closer. You do love those donuts. This is kind of the first we've even heard her talk about donuts. But wasn't it your stomach that was hurting? Well, my stomach kind of made me hungry. So, you know, or I guess my memory's kind of fuzzy lately. They say that a goldfish will eat however much food you give it, even if it's about to burst. Miss Asahina's pretty much the same, it looks like. See? And see, he calls her Miss Asahina, which would be her last name, again indicated.
Just a second.
Hey, you of all people don't have any room to talk? Yeah, Hifumi really has no place to call somebody else fat. Anyway, I was worried about you. Sorry. Besides that, you... Huh? Jeez, your knockers are huge. What the heck did you convince them to double up on the... What the heck? Did you convince them to double up on the milk production? So, remember in chapter 1, Toko would call other people, would like hate on the other girls and call them like sluts and ugly and things like that. Genocide Jill, on the other hand, seems to be going even more aggressive in that direction. Stay away from her, you fiend. Anyway, first things first, we should talk about what we find, right, Taka? ... Taka still. Right. So yeah, we are just straight up stuck with Genocide Jack now. She is part of the story, whether you like it or not, which is weird, to say the least. What it really comes off as and feels like is that they felt that there was just a standard level of weird characters that this game had to have to be interesting. So as we have lost more and more characters that are weird, the other characters instead have to become more weird. So let's just start with Hifumi and work our way the other direction. There's an art room on the third floor. It had all kinds of gear. May him now be able to recreate all my favorite anime characters. Gotta react. Oh yeah, speaking of anime, that reminds me, I found something while I was looking around. A digital camera. That's what it seems like. Now, why in the world would you possibly give the camera to anybody, but particularly Hifumi, who feels like he is the one person that is going to potentially try and hide a camera in the bathhouse or something and spy on girls, regardless of whether he says he has no interest in 3D or not. Like, I would put Hifumi as being a pervert way more than any of the other characters. If I was going to give the camera to anybody, I would give it to Taka, who's the ultimate moral compass, or one of the girls. Yeah, it seems fine. Well, then let's see it.
What the heck?
What the heck? This thing's like a kid's toy. Even if it does have the ridiculous skin on it, I still think a camera is going to be very, very useful. It looks like it can store like 5 pictures maybe. It doesn't have a timer or anything.
Well,
On top of that, its appearance seems questionable. Is this some kind of anime character? Strange. Rude. She's not strange. She's Princess Piggles from the Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess. Oh, you recognize this, Hifumi? Of course I recognize it. It's a super rare prize that was given away at a bingo contest at a big anime convention. You have any idea how much I'd pay that guy to get my hands on it? Wait, that's my camera. What? Where did you find it? In the physics lab. It's my most prized possession. I brought it here with me, but I lost it the first day along with my phone. So now we are getting told that the phones went missing. So apparently Monokuma did like remove a lot of items out of people's pockets and is now perhaps returning some of them or leaving them lying around.
let's see.
Why would it have reappeared in the physics lab?
However,
Ah, but look at it. It got all messed up. Looks like someone steals a sticker from your collection, or you buy a secondhand shirt. Sticker from your collection, I guess you mean sticker books? Boy, am I glad sticker books aren't a thing anymore. They were huge ripoffs. I remember doing them when I was very, very young and wasting a lot of money for a very stupid reason. Well, that's it. Huh? That's it? It's not mint condition. I don't need it anymore. Weren't you just saying how much it meant to you? Then may I have it? I might find some sort of use for it. So Celeste is going to take it. Which that seems... If any of you would like to borrow it, please feel free to ask. Well, I can't really imagine any of us are going to need to take any pictures or whatever. I feel like totally taking pictures would make a lot of sense. Like just taking a picture of every single room when you enter it would be a great way of documenting if anything has moved or changed, if anyone has been there, who was there and when. You could create a running log to go back and investigate later. You could definitely take pictures of murder scenes. You could definitely take pictures of evidence. So that's a really bad line. Illogical line, at least. Yeah, true. Well, anyways, we'll move on to Sakura. I searched the entire 3rd floor, but all the windows and halls and rooms were blocked off. I wish they'd give this a rest already. For serious, give me back my bright blue skies. Just forget about it.
Impossible.
Make it sound like I dropped a nickel or something. Just to be sure, I went from one end to the other, testing each metal plate. None of them bulged.
so in the end,
Budged. It would seem escape via the 3rd floor is impossible as we feared. Honestly, if they were going to try and jump out or climb out the window on the 3rd floor, they'd have to work fairly hard to make some kind of rope or something. Like you're not just going to land a jump from the 3rd floor and make it out without at least a broken leg or flat killing yourself. I see. And see, they've got Celeste in such an odd angle here. There is one piece of good news. There just so happens to be a rec room on the 3rd floor. I have no doubt that our student lives here will be even more enjoyable because of it. Will someone join me in a game of Othello sometime? Alright, well, let's talk to Genocide Jill. The long road to maidenhood begins with a single step. The road may begin with only wrinkly old men, but it will end with strapping young, adorable boys. I have no idea what she's talking about. What the heck are you talking about? Yeah. Well, she's gonna be useless, right?
Correct.
There was a rather remarkable physics labs on the 3rd floor. In the middle of the room there was a machine bigger than anything I'd ever seen before. And yeah, apparently it's an air purifier. Huh? What's something like that doing there? Is the device really that big? I really don't get it. Let's talk to Taka and see if we can get him to say anything. ... It's no use. Well, that certainly saves ourselves time. So if we have just catatonic Taka and crazy Genocide Jill, that lowers the number of people we need to talk with, particularly with Byakuya also being gone. Oh, I remembered I saw Byakuya a little while ago. What? Where? Where is he? Look at how her tongue is just like super long that it's twisting. You're kind of scaring me. Where was he? He was in the locker room. He had a huge stack of books he must have gotten from the library.
No, 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 no!
So that's where he was hiding. I won't let him get away from me. She just ran off. Is she okay? We should not concern ourselves with her. Is there any real reason to scan for coins? I don't think so. Like, I wasn't able to help much in the investigation, which honestly she hasn't been very helpful in any investigation up at this point. I did make one discovery.
Could it be?
Didn't happen to be a donated related discovery, did it? Well, what does that even mean? Never mind. It's about the nurse's office, remember? The one on the first floor, right? I remember, but it's locked.
Yeah.
Actually, not anymore.
So then.
Did you find any protein in there? Or even vitamins, supplements would be fine. Yeah, if you're not careful, Sakura's gonna eat all the protein in return to school. I did look, but no dice. Just a bunch of headache medicine and over-the-counter stuff, so not even dangerous drugs.
I see.
Although, you know, you get 2 or 3 bottles of a monthly supply of something over the counter, and if you can condense that into an overdose amount at that point, like any drug will become lethal if you can condense it enough. But also, that's pretty much anything. You can die from overdosing on water. I see, that's disappointing. It is disappointing, like the end of the world is already here. I'm not sure that's not the case. I'm not sure it's that disappointing, says Makoto. Okay, I've heard what everyone else has to say, so now it's my turn. Can I tell you guys something? I found something that's been kind of bothering me.
What?
What is it? I found this weird picture in the repository. Apparently Monokuma took it. Well, I don't know why apparently Monokuma took it. I guess it's apparently Monokuma took the picture and not apparently Monokuma took the printed picture that I had in my hand. He created the picture. The weird picture, you mean like dirty? No, not that kind of weird. And see, that is where the Japanese language would use the word hin for weird or strange, which can sometimes mean hentai, which is perverted, but can just also mean weird and strange. It was a picture of Leon, Mondo, and Chihiro all together.
Why?
Those 3. And the 3 of them were laughing.
Oh,
It showed the 3 of them together and laughing. When could it have been taken? And there's more. In the picture, there weren't any metal sheets covering the windows.
well
Then the picture wasn't taken here.
Let's see.
But I don't recall hearing anything about them knowing each other before coming to the school. You probably just imagined that Monokuma cast a spell on you. I should have paused between those 2 sentences. No, I saw it. I'm telling you. But if it was taken before we got here, or after we got here, if it wasn't taken before we got here, or after we got here,
How about that?
I bet they're all still alive. They left the school and then took that picture.
Is that right?
That's impossible. After all, we all saw it with our own eyes. Well, I mean, if you're gonna throw out the idea that Monokuma is hypnotizing or brainwashing you or making you see things that aren't really there, like it could be that he's faking these murders. They're all dead. Either murdered or executed. And they're not the only ones. Monokuma killed Junko. Yeah, it's so weird to introduce Junko and then have her play like no part in the story at all. Then there's Sayaka. I kind of almost wonder if maybe Junko in an alternate timeline would have actually been not killed and some other character would have been killed instead. But I don't know how that would really play out because it seems like every other character has played an important role except for maybe Aoi. So maybe Hina, Aoi, Swimmer Girl. Maybe she would get replaced with Junko. And then we definitely saw Sayaka was stabbed with the knife, so she wasn't killed by any machinations of Monokuma. And neither was Chihiro. That wasn't an illusion. It was real, I'm sure of it. They all died. There's no way any of them are still alive. So I have to figure out when that picture was taken. Monokuma most likely forged it. I can't imagine any other possibility. Forged? Is that all there is to it? It does make sense that it's forged. Because that would increase the despair of Makoto. Stay focused, man. Don't let Monokuma's bullcrap sidetrack you. He's right, but more importantly, on another topic, there's something that has been bothering me. I would like to discuss that. So are we supposed to talk to everyone again?
What the heck?
I guess we can.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can talk to everybody if you want to.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know if it's really useful to talk to everyone. So, and in this scenario, having Aoi up front doesn't really make a lot of sense. It would almost make more sense for Aoi to move and Celeste be up front. There's something that's been bothering me and which I would like to discuss. We have to react. What's bothering you, Celeste?
Actually,
It's about Hina. What? Me? You said your stomach hurt, did you not? But I believe that was a lie. What really happened? Huh? It varies from person to person, but whenever someone lies, they tend to have a way of showing it. Remember, Celeste is the ultimate gambler. It's called a tell. Something that you can't hide, no matter how hard you try.
is that okay?
Whenever Hina lies, the tip of her nose just gets just a little bit longer. Like a Pinocchio type indication.
Huh?
What, for real? Actually, no.
Oh.
But your reaction just confirmed that you were lying. That's no fair. If you're gonna lie, at least try to lie convincingly. Be honest. Were you lying about your stomachache? ... Yes.
I see.
Why? Why would you lie about that?
That's it.
Are you feeling guilty about something?
Just a second.
No, that's not it at all. I just mean, I have a reason for it. A reason? So, man, they really feel like they're just stretching this here. Now, where they want us to potentially waste time, talk to everybody,
It's true.
and then go back to Hina.
So it would seem.
It seems so pointless for this not to just be a linear thing. If anything, Hina now looks like she might be the spy. Although if she is a spy, she's pretty bad at it. Although playing stupid might be a good way to hide your true actions. To be honest, I didn't have a stomachache. I did it because if I came and told you the truth, I thought you wouldn't believe me. Let's react to that. The truth.
Well,
I saw it. So what? A ghost. A ghost. You mean like that ghost? What ghost?
hey,
Is there more than one ghost? But I mean, Ghost Star. See, I told you wouldn't believe me. It's not like I don't believe you, but I believe you. No matter what anyone else might say, I will believe whatever you say, no matter what. So can you tell us exactly what happened? Why would Sakura believe her? Maybe she's just being nice and to get her to talk. If you really mean that, Sakura, then okay, I'll tell you. So it happened last night. So this is going to be the very point where it makes very little sense to have shown us the scene of what happened last night instead of just telling it to us now. The only reason you'd have a scene like that is if it was designed to be in an anime or a manga where you would tease a next episode. And definitely we see sections of this are teased and played out like they are episodes. But they'd be super long episodes without a massive amount of editing. Each chapter is going 4 or 5 hours. So it happened last night. Now we get the flashback to the cheesecake image here. And I think in this case you would once again use cheesecake more than beefcake. Aoi is a sporty girl, but she's not drawn particularly muscular. I was in bed, but I couldn't get to sleep. I just kept thinking about everything that happened until now. I ended up getting more upset. So to try and cheer myself out, I thought I'd get some donuts. Also, apparently she sleeps with the light on top of the sheets. Donuts again. And you ignored the rule regarding nighttime?
Sorry.
I know, sorry. I feel really bad about that. Anyway, please continue. So I left my room and headed for the warehouse. But then I started hearing a strange sound. Grr, grr. Sounds like a toy.
Well,
It was coming from the direction of the bathhouse, so I headed that way. The locker was halfway open, so I took a look inside. And I saw a human shape surrounded by a pale green light. It looks like Chihiro. But we didn't see that when we searched the bathhouse. There's no doubt who it was. It was Chihiro.
Say what?
Yeah. No way, a ghost. That's almost Scooby-Doo-esque.
honestly,
It is simply not possible. You must be mistaken. Well, yeah, how would you get her face inside a locker? Just as in most cases, a paranormal activity was born from your weakened mental state. Then all we have to do is go and see for ourselves, right? Let's just go to the bathhouse and see what Hina saw. It is a waste of time. Maybe, but there's no harm in it, right? If we don't find anything, that'll be the end of it. You're gonna go and try and see a ghost? Is that a really good idea? It might put a curse on you. Why is Yushiro such a coward around ghosts when he's supposed to be a clairvoyant? You can wait here if you want. I don't want to be along. Take me with you. He's such a coward. What are you gonna do, Celeste?
there is nothing to be
I suppose I have no choice. How about you, Miss Ishimaru? Are you gonna wait here? Mr. Ishimaru, I guess is what he said. He just ... I guess that's a yes. It was right here. I saw it right here in the dressing room. I'm getting goosebumps.
Come on.
Lala Cthulhu Fatog. So, what if it actually shows up? That might be something that would have been better localized. You know, where was it you saw Chihiro's ghost? Well, I heard a sound, and when I opened the locker, I saw a kind of pale outline of Chihiro. Alright, so in the changing room here, there is no monitor and there is no camera. But getting from the bathhouse to anywhere else is kind of impossible. So let's just talk to everybody, I guess. Come on, Mikos, hurry up and get over with. It It's an ancient chant, simply it's kind of an incantation. And that's why I said shut up. Alright, so
in the end,
we can talk to everybody, but is there a benefit to talking to everyone? Like, is this getting us more interaction points perhaps with these characters because we talk to them all? Or is it just wasting time? I think it's probably wasting time.
Honestly.
We'll talk to. So here's the locker that we need to click on, which they're certainly not making it easy. Particularly if you're playing this on the PSP, like that's not super easy to target with a smaller resolution. Is this the locker? There was something in here? We searched this before and we didn't see it. Huh? Inside the locker is a laptop. What's something like that doing here?
Hey.
I remember seeing this. Oh, that's right. I saw it in the library before. It looks like a laptop. Well, the laptop, it looks pretty old. It's all covered in dust.
So...
It's broken. I tried pressing the power button earlier, but nothing happened. Probably the battery was dead. It's broken, huh? Too bad. But how did the laptop get from the library to here?
It would seem...
I guess it's in sleep... And I guess it's in sleep mode, but the power is definitely on. Huh? But I thought it was broken. I would bet that Chihiro fixed it. Well, maybe it was broken, maybe it was just not charged. After all, she was known as the ultimate programmer. Being an ultimate programmer does not make you an ultimate IT technician or laptop fixer or electrical engineer. But I imagine most programmers would know how to fix a computer if it had moderate to minor problems with it. And like, I build all my computers and I know how to program. I'm not the ultimate programmer by any means.
Then perhaps...
More importantly, Hina, you said you saw a green light, yes? Surely you did not mistake the light of the monitor for a ghost. ... I'm surprised you're able to dress yourself in the morning. Oh man, if I had the loves clueless girl's attribute, I would have fallen in love big time just now. I'm so glad I don't have it. Well, I didn't really expect to find a freaking laptop inside a freaking locker, okay?
Hey, come on.
It's okay, I mean, anyone can make a mistake like that. As a matter of fact, one time I thought I'd spotted a gray alien, but it turned out to be a tadpole.
What are you saying?
Don't compare what happened to me with one of your stupid delusions. Don't be mean, I was just trying to make you feel better. What if I get all depressed forever now? But listen, isn't this really strange? What's the laptop doing in here?
In other words...
Maybe someone hid it here. If that's the case, we found it pretty easily.
Wrong.
Whoever put it here, I don't think they were trying to hide it from us. Huh? What do you mean?
Hey.
Haven't you noticed the one big difference between this room and all the others? There's a difference? There's no surveillance camera.
Yes, it's me.
Precisely. There's no camera in here, which means this is the one spot where the mastermind is blind. Which is weird because there are other changing rooms all over the place and there are cameras in there. So you're saying someone put a laptop here so that the mastermind wouldn't know about it.
It's true.
And what Hina saw on wasn't the ordinary glow of a computer screen. It was a figure of Chihiro shining pale green.
Hey.
I think it would be best if we investigated the laptop in a little more detail. Alright, well, there's literally only one thing to click on here, and there's an interesting question around the idea of, is a scene like this easier to create because you made the game in 3D and put flat 2D textures over it, or does it take the same amount of time to make this, or more time to make this than it would have to simply had the one-off use of a flat 2D image, or simply not use this scene anyways and just make us click on the locker from the previous scene again. Although we may use this quite more often than I think. It's just like Kyoko said, the display isn't on, but the laptop definitely has power.
So then...
So first of all, we have to wake it up, right? Start hitting random buttons on the keyboard. and the display it began to glow a pale green. A green screen is a odd color monitor to have that would give off a pale green light. Nowadays, most monitors will give off either no glow effect, or it would be much more balanced to white, a white backlight glow effect. A pale green screen would indicate a screen from several decades ago. There was a bunch of different icons on the desktop. There, the icon on the far left. What is it? It says Alter Ego. There's a cell phone game called Alter Ego that's a clicker that talks about a bunch of like philosophical books and the ego and the id and the superego and things like that. It was kind of interesting, but so laden with ads that even with an ad blocker, it was unplayable because it was also so designed to be so slow. If you didn't watch the ads and get boosters, that it would suck. There was also like DLC for more story, I think, at the end. But if you're willing to put up with moderate frustration, I would say check out Alter Ego. It's an interesting kind of half clicker, idle clicker, and half visual novel game. One of the Japanese philosophical books that's been referenced in this game was also referenced in Alter Ego, but that's probably not super surprising because it's probably a very famous book in Japan. Alter Ego literally means another self, I believe. In the field of artificial intelligence, it is not uncommon to create different aspects of a personality. You could consider it something like a pin name.
Makoto.
Could you let me see it, Makoto? With that, Makoto moved between me and the computer. She moved the cursor over to the Alter Ego icon, and when she double-clicked it, the screen suddenly went dark. And then a voice spoke up.
You really came.
She said, "You really came," and then this gets translated to, "Master, you're here." Chihiro's face appeared, taking up the entire display. "It's a ghost. Buddha and sweet baby Jesus, save me."
Calm down.
Calm down, it's not a ghost. Huh?
Um,
Then what is it?
Anyway,
I'm sure if we just talk to it, we'll find out. Kyoko began to type, hands blowing across the keyboard. "What are you?" And then...
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Chihiro Fujisaki.
So, do we call Chihiro the Alter Ego version, he or she in this case, since it's a it? I mean, the proper response, I think, in my point, now that it's a computer program, is an it. But I think we'll probably end up calling it he. I always get so embarrassed introducing myself. That voice, that tone, and everything. It's Chihiro.
I knew it.
Alter Ego. I've heard of this kind of AI program, but I've never seen one for myself. AI program?
That's right.
It's how Chihiro earned his title as ultimate programmer. The AI lives in a computer, and by repeating different tasks, it gains knowledge and grows bit by bit. Apparently, Chihiro is a support vector machine and reinforcement learning. Apparently, Chihiro used a support vector machine and reinforcement learning to develop it. How could you have done all of that in this school? Eventually came up with a breakthrough in artificial design. Unless perhaps this Alter Ego code was either memorized by Chihiro, which seems insane, or on some kind of data drive that Chihiro had with her. But I guess we have to just, in general, suspend our disbelief that an AI could run on an old dusty laptop. Support vector machine reinforcement learning.
It's true.
To put it simply, it's a learning method for computers. If you want to know more, just Google it, okay? Yeah.
In other words,
But if the AI continues to grow, it will become more than just a piece of software to help people. Some say that an AI might someday replace people. And that's why it's called Alter Ego. A fine choice then, I must say. It can create memories, have thoughts, and grow up. The process isn't much different from how humans work. If you were raising your own AI that way, it would make perfect sense to refer to it as your alter ego.
I see.
So maybe the laptop belonged to Chihiro before. A second perfect personality they can never forget or grow old. That's what Chihiro created. That's alter ego. Thanks for explaining this to me. Again, this is a section that makes us feel like it's a game for edgy 14-year-olds who may not have heard of this stuff, whereas almost anybody else who's an adult has heard of this. Even when this game came out, which was several years ago, people would have heard of AI and plenty of other stories. The just Google it answer really could cover a lot of what's being said here.
Are you okay with this?
Anyway, so he fixed the broken laptop, put his own program on there. Then this is what this means, yes? Then he brought the machine to this dressing room where the mastermind would not be able to see it. But you know, all this about master and whatnot. Yes, yes. I believe I'm on fire. I thought you were only into 2D. This is the most excellent 2D possible. But he's a guy, and also a computer program.
I feel as if.
Oh, that aspect is no problem.
I mean,
That aspect, so, like, he's cool with 2D guys and computer programs. Anyway, let's talk to him a little more. Interesting. It would be funny if Hifumi turned out to be bisexual. Okay. It would be questionable to say the least, but funny. Anyway, let's talk to him a little more. Kyoko typed away rhythmically. How much do you know about what's going on? Master only gave me a general idea, but I do know that things have become very grave. He found himself caught up in this without warning. Kyoko immediately shot out another question. Why are you here? Are you asking what Master had planned for me? Well, he wanted me to analyze the massive number of files stored on this laptop. I believe the files are related to the school, but the protection on them is surprisingly strong, so it's taking me a little longer than I thought. But here's what Master must have been thinking. So alter ego seems like they have like one line of dialogue for alter ego, and it's just going to be Master over and over again. And maybe that's a localization mistake. It probably in Japanese is Master as far as the words that they're using, but it might have been a more understandable localization if instead they had just said Chihiro every time they said Master, or if they had said Mama or Daddy. That would be a little weird too. Or My Creator might be a better one. I think Chihiro is probably the easiest localization to just go with, though. Particularly since they're not doing any kind of the other honorifics in Japanese. But here's what Master must have been thinking. The fact that the files are protected so tightly means they must contain some important secret. For example, perhaps the secret of this school, ... Well, while I was busy struggling to make a sound, Kyoko pushed forward and asked her next question. Kyoko types pretty fast and thinks pretty fast. How much longer until everything's unlocked? It's gonna be a while. But I'm definitely gonna do it, so you just have to leave it to me. So because of how long it would take, he designed alter ego to handle the workload. Smart. That also means that the work remains uninterrupted even after his death. Once again, Kyoko typed quickly. Keep it up, but be careful not to let the mastermind know you. Don't worry, I've got a secret plan already, just in case. Actually, I can see what's going on using my built-in webcam, so if anyone suspicious shows up, I'll just scream for help really loud. It's a pretty basic plan, I have to say.
Yes, indeed.
That is fine during the day, but nighttime is a concern. Huh? Why?
Are you okay with
Have you
this?
forgotten all our rooms are completely soundproof? Once we close our doors, he can scream as loud as he wants, but we won't hear a thing. Okay, then how about once it's nighttime, we each take turns guarding the dressing room?
However,
There's a good chance the mastermind would know us all going in and out of the dressing room like that. And what can we do?
So then,
Let's see. Once nighttime comes, I'll leave the door to my room open, so Kyoko's gonna expose herself. Then there's no way I can miss alter ego yelling. But if you leave your door open all night, then
it's true.
there's a chance I may become a victim myself, I know.
However,
But I'm not as weak as you may think. I wouldn't go down without a fight, I assure you. There's an undeniable strength in her voice when she says that. Kyoko is still a very weird character in that we have like no backstory on her at all, so we don't even know what her ultimate ability is. She was too confident. She was totally confident she would be okay. That confidence was somewhat similar to Byaku's tone, but at the same time different. Yeah, it had an entirely different feel for sure. Like someone who'd been dropped onto a battlefield versus someone who'd been born on a battlefield. I felt like there was a fundamental difference. I was pulled out of my thoughts by the voice suddenly emanating from the laptop.
So,
Would you mind if I asked a few questions? I haven't seen Master for a while. When you got here, I thought it was him, but is Master? For a split second, Kyoko seemed to not know what to do, but she recovered just as fast and began typing. Her answer was clear, concise, and direct. Chihiro is dead. Mondo killed him.
okay then.
So now the AI is crying. I see. To be honest, I knew all along. I knew the chances that Master would survive this situation were very low, so I prepared for this moment. Somehow I feel kind of sorry for her. I can't imagine how it must feel to lose your other self. It's simply a computer program. It does not have feelings. Are you sure about that?
shall we go?
Anyway, that's enough for today. If we linger here too long, the mastermind will start to suspect something. Then Kyoko typed one last sentence. I'll come back later. Yes, please do. It's a promise, okay? Bye-bye. The AI seemed totally different from what we'd first arrived. He seemed upbeat. Was it just because he was following his program, or could he actually have been worried about us?
Could it be?
I think the mastermind wouldn't really question anything too much had they just decided to in the dining hall agree on like a schedule for the bathhouse and then use that schedule as an excuse to A, use the bathhouse, and B, be in the changing room. They could make a silly rule that says the guys must stay in the dressing room and when the girls are in the bathhouse, and the girls must stay in the dressing room when the guys are in the bathhouse, so everyone is close to each other and we know we can hear each other talk, each group talking, and thus we know nobody is out there murdering somebody else. And see, that would be a good enough argument to just consistently during the nighttime have somebody in the bathhouse. Although the idea does sound kind of ridiculous that you'd be in the bathhouse over the entirety of the night. Yeah, that really wouldn't work, would it? It sounds good on paper, but you would have to make a schedule where somebody uses the bathhouse at some point overnight, always, and that they take turns, and then that would just be kind of crazy. It would be a very different sleep schedule for people. Anyways, moving on. What's wrong, hero?
You know?
Oh, nothing. I was just wondering if we might be able to get this laptop online. Then we could call from help from the outside. But this is just a dressing room. I don't think you can get online from here. Guess Wi-Fi hadn't been considered. Well, if we take it out of here and find some place that does have online access, that's way too dangerous. The mastermind would find out in no time. Oh yeah, true.
Indeed.
There's no time for taking needless risk. For now, I'll monitor the progress of the file analysis. I'm confident we'll uncover some kind of clue once it's finished. This feels like a detour more than anything else, but I suppose it can't be helped.
Of course.
Well, for now, all we can do is wait for Alter Ego to finish his work. It can't be helped is a Japanese phrase that often gets said. Japanese self-defeatism, effectively, is that we're just gonna go with the flow and we're not gonna fight anything or try because it can't be helped, or it seems like it can't be helped. Well, for now, all we can do is wait for Alter Ego to finish his work.
You know?
So, should we get going?
It's true.
Indeed. Goodbye. We'll be back, I promise. Come on, Hifumi, let's go. Okay. We all left the dressing room. As soon as we were out in the hall, Hina let out a joyful shout. Isn't it awesome? I ended up doing something totally awesome, right? As if he'd been waiting for his cue. And as if he'd been waiting for his cue. Dun 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 dun. Hina has gained enough experience to level up.
What's the matter?
So what was this awesome something? Monokuma?
What the heck?
You guys seem in remarkably good spirits. Did something happen? Oh no, nothing in particular. Ooh, keeping secrets, no fair. I demand an exclusive interview. Denied, denied, super denied. Yeah, just because you demand something doesn't mean we have to do it.
Say what?
Do it. You mean like do it? Do it? What? Now we're back to a dirty joke. What do you mean by do it? Do it?
Yes.
Ew, gross. You said do it.
Just the worst.
What? You said it first. We were just talking about going to the bathhouse. We have not had a chance to relax in some time.
Huh?
Huh? But unfortunately, the bathhouse is not divided into men's and women's sections. So we decided to do rock, paper, scissors to decide which group would go first. Hina won the match for us, and that is why we are all so pleased. Yeah, that's right. Speaking of which, okay boys, why don't you head back to the dining hall or something? We're gonna take a nice long bath.
Hey, come on.
Geez, what are you gonna do, right? We lost fair and square. Well, ladies, shall we go? Celeste didn't hesitate to come up with the ruse, and her poker face didn't even flinch. And so she and the other girls head back into the dressing room.
Oh. Damnation!
Nuts and damn it, we totally lost another day without getting to take my very first bath here. So they're taking the use of the bath for like the entire day, apparently. Yeah, but tomorrow for sure. We'll definitely get that bath tomorrow. Yeah, so they're not even, saying they're using rock, paper, scissors to determine who gets to use the bath, whether boys or girls, instead of just toggling A, B days. Okay, so we should head back to the dining hall now. This is a good point to point out how, yeah, the high school kids would not use a bath in the school as a co-ed bathing experience with undivided sections, where they might be more interested in, they might be willing to do that or get convinced to do that if they were in a hot spring in the mountains. It's weird that there are two different ways to publicly bathe, and a lot of it just depends on where you are in the situation. Hold on. Something's strange here. Very strange. Strange? What do you mean? What's strange is this is the perfect chance for you to sneak a peek. Huh? You're absolutely right. I thought you were all about 2D. All of you need to shut up and sit down and listen to what I have to say. An opportunity like this doesn't come along very often. It's the ideal setting of a man's fantasy. See, and Monokuma does come off as weird here, as that he seems to want to have the kids fight each other and kill each other, but then he also seems to be more than willing to indulge the teenagers in their horniness. Let's see. ... I was forced to ask myself, should I sneak into the bathhouse like Monokuma said, or just go quietly back into the dining hall? No, I can't do it. I can't treat girls like that. Let's just head back into the dining hall. So you don't get a choice, which is probably for the better for this story, because we don't need the story to go in that direction. Also, certainly you're never going to, in the long run, convince any of these girls to actually date you, sleep with you, or even like have children with you, if you're going to use them for the cheap pop of peeking in on them while they're bathing and violating their privacy. Like, disrespecting them is no way to establish a relationship. Like, you have to convince the girls eventually to want to show you their bodies and feel comfortable with you, not just try and use them. What? But what about your man's fantasy? I'm not sure a real man's fantasy should be about spying on girls and stuff. It should be more about your hopes or your dreams of adventure or whatever. But anyway, I'm not gonna spy on them. I see, I can't even describe my bitter disappointment. That primo fan service could have been yours. We head back to the dining hall, leaving Monokuma standing there alone. But to be honest, even I was a little reluctant to turn down the offer. Alright, well, let's leave that there, because it seems like they're gonna kind of go into a conversation. We don't ever really accomplish too much when we have this first section after a new chapter. It does seem like nothing really happens. Chihiro here is still dead, so we're not labeling her as back alive. When I get some free time, I will pretty much just try and interact with everybody, although maybe it's not a smart idea to hang out with Taka. I don't know if we even really would get too much from Byakuya. We'll have to think really hard about who we want to try and hang out with now. But generally, I guess I am just going to try and go down the line and have at least one interaction with somebody to try and get at least one more skill on the first interaction. But yeah, we don't feel like we really accomplished that much for 2 hours and 11-minute episode. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.